come in. Wait for people to roll in. Hopefully some people will get to come in here. Make some of the drink real quick. It was Moose this time.
What? Dad, did you do this?
No, I didn't do that, baby.
I didn't. That cracked me up.
You cracked me up.
You cracked me up too.
You crazy little girl.
You cracked me up too.
Anybody yet? Nobody yet.
I hope they're done.
Stop running, please. Come on, baby.
My tablet won't turn on.
They're dead?
Yeah.
This isn't plugged in, honey. That's why it's not going to turn on.
Oh. Why did it unplug? Oh no, it turned on.
I'll give it another 2 minutes. If nobody comes in, I'll just turn it off for a while. Hey, how we doing, guys? Doing my first live stream. Figure I'd start with my tank, showing some video of it.
Emma, who are you talking to? And who are you talking to?
Hey, Jeff, how you doing? Figure I would try doing the live stream, see how everything is going to work out. This is an old camera I'm using, so it's not the best resolution, but should work pretty good. Figure to show off some of the corals a little bit. See if we can get a few more people in here. Yeah, she's sitting there. This is her first live stream, so she's not used to it. So she's kind of looking around like, who are you talking to? Yeah, she's a trip. Then my son, he's getting into the saltwater world as well. He's 11, and we got him a little 20-gallon long that we have set up in his bedroom. And he has a few fish in there. He has a yellow tang and a neon dotty back that he has in there. And he has a few different types of corals. He has some zoas. He has a Hollywood stunner down there. He's getting really into it pretty good. And it's something for him I like for him because it keeps him entertained and going. And it teaches him a responsibility. So for like his chores and everything, when he does good, he gets to go to the LFS with me, and he gets to pick out a coral of his own that he wants for his tank and stuff like that. Turn it down, please, or put the headphones in. Yeah, there's headphones over there. Here, there's headphones right here. Put those in. Yeah, he's really into it. He even with my main tank here, he'll stick his hand in there and even with the water changes. Only thing he won't do is do with the protein skimmer. He won't empty the cup in the protein skimmer. Other than that, he'll do everything else but that. He doesn't like the smell of the protein skimmer, which I can't blame him for that. Because my son, he got the full dose of the smell when we were at our LFS, and they have a humongous protein skimmer. I mean, it's massive, and they were draining the cup out on it, and I mean, it was pretty rank. And he's sitting there gagging, and he's like, "This is 10 times worse than yours, Dad." And I was like, "Yeah, it can get pretty bad." I try to go live from my phone because I have better resolution, but you have to have 1,000 subscribers to go live from your phone. So it's like that's crazy. So I'll get there eventually. It's like, yeah, definitely. We have a lot of dogs. We got 6 dogs, so we definitely know about that. We got 6 dogs and like 5 cats or something like that in our fish tanks. Like even my daughter, she's 4, and we have a 20-gallon high in her room, and it's full of African cichlids from Lake Tanganyika, and she likes it. So, and I've always been into the fish ever since I've been like 6 years old. I've always had a fish. We've always had a fish tank in our house, and it's just something I really like to continue with everybody else. Even like my kids, like we go on cruises twice a year to the Caribbean and stuff like that, and the kids absolutely love it. They'll go into the water and they'll have the snorkel mask on. They're like, "Dad, we have that in our fish tank." And I'm like, "Yep, we sure do." Yeah, but saltwater tanks are so much fun. I absolutely love them, especially like the euphyllias. I'm a sucker for the euphyllias, like torches, hammers, frog spawns, all that. And we got a little bit of everything in there. I have a few torches, and we got frog spawns, hammers, and I have a few sticks in there. Nothing outrageously, but I do have a few in there. I got a little bubble tip anemone down there. I'm trying to get going. My clowns in the back, they've hosted on my leather toadstool I have back there, and they've laid eggs once before for me. But time I got to them, the fish had already made a pretty decent snack of them. And right now in this tank here, things are kind of adjusting because I had a smaller JBJ wave maker back there, and it went out on me. It'll go for about 10 minutes and it acts like it gets too hot or something, and it just completely shuts off. So I had a bigger JBJ and I put it on there, and I have it literally on its absolute lowest setting possible, and it does pretty good for what it is right now. But the the Euphilia and a couple of the SPS aren't really used to that amount of flow right there, so they're kind of adjusting to it. But all my Zoas, they've adapted really well to it. Only ones that haven't came around yet are my Sunny D's, but everybody else came around pretty good. Even my what is it, the Feather Duster, it's adjusted really well, and that's right at the front of the tank by my A cans. And that gets hit pretty hard right there with flow right there.
Is she gonna eat that?
And I had a Naso tank in here, but he just recently passed away. He passed away on Tuesday, and he was doing absolutely fine. Nothing changed in the tank. Parameters all were fine. And Monday he stopped eating. Came home Tuesday from work, and he was gone. Nothing, like I said, nothing changed in the tank. Temperature, salinity, alkalinity, nothing. It all stayed the same. And he just stopped eating Monday. Then Tuesday he was gone, which sucked for me because he was literally my favorite fish in the tank. And he had such a personality. I called him my little water dog because as soon as I would come in the front door, he'd be right there to meet me right there. And literally, like, I could stick my hand in the tank and he would come up and cup in my hand and like almost want to be petted like a dog. It was really weird, but it was one of the coolest fish I've ever had. But in here we still have some pretty nice fish. We got a pair of black ocellaris, flame angel. Yeah, once he stopped eating, it didn't take him long at all. Like, I noticed, I tried to feed him a different variety of foods. I mean, I threw everything of different foods I could think of at him to try to get him to eat, and he wouldn't eat for nothing. He wouldn't eat none of the nori. I mean, I threw some Formula One in there. I threw some LRS mysis in there, and everybody else was eating just fine, but he wasn't touching any of it. I even had a pellet food that all my fish eat, and he wouldn't even touch it because it has probiotics in it. Like, even my scooter blenny, he'll eat the pellets. My mandarin eats pellets, but he just stopped eating, and like I said, he was gone quick. I was really surprised on how quickly he went. Because I had my yellow tang in here in this tank, but he was the biggest bully ever in this tank. Like, he literally forced a yellow Watchman goby and a lawnmower blenny. He forced them out of the tank. He literally made them jump out of the tank. He was such an ass to him. So I rearranged my whole entire tank just to get him out and put him in my son's tank. And now I have a starry blenny in there, which is probably one of the cooler blennies I've ever seen. And he does really, really well. Then, like I said, we got the two black ocellaris. We got the scooter blenny, the mandarin dragonet, and a flame angel in here, and a 6-line wrasse. Then, like, my bottom, it only has like maybe an inch to an inch and a half of sand, but I did a mix of white sand and a mix of black sand, and I tried to want to do like a yin and yang thing, and I had them separated, but over the time of the pumps moving back and forth, it's just kind of all mixed it together. Let's see if I can pull some stuff out. Right here's my little bubble tip here. And my little potato chip coral clear the same. Was just one little thing. Now it has two with the third one coming out in the bag. And these are kryptonite zoas here. And these are things are bright orange. These acans here. On my different Philia. Back here is a Monty back here that's attached with some eagle eyes. So probably a little hard to hear because it's farther away. It's a 60 rimless. And it has the sump is probably about, all in all, probably about 20 gallons. It's a nice little sump, acrylic sump. Then I just have Live Rock and the protein skimmer down there. I had Chaeto in it for a while, but it got so tight of a ball that it ended up dying from the inside out because there was no light getting into the inside of it. So it just like ended up just like basically dying from the inside out. But I want to get some more so that way I can have my pods because in all honesty, my Mandarin doesn't go after the pods. He likes just more of the prepared food. And the scooter blending one really just goes after the pods for the most part. Like the Mandarin will go for him every now and again, but he was the best best Mandarin I've had to start eating right away. And I just did what Milev's Reef did to get his eat. I just took a small little olive jar and stuck him down in the olive jar down in the bottom with some pellets in there. And he went in there and ate it just fine. And he was able to eat it. Then he just started getting everything else just as everybody else would. Yeah, in all honesty, I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have like just taken the ball apart and just let it grow that way. But I just never did think about it, and it just ended up going out. But I'll probably end up getting some from like Algae Barn, or if I can find somebody local in one of the clubs that are getting rid of some. And I do miss having Chaeto in there. Like sometimes the piece that would fall off and it would end up clogging up the motor of my protein skimmer. But all in all, I mean, it happened like every 1 in 100 times, so it didn't really bother me too much. Hey, I said put the headphones in, please. Yes. Noel. Here, then. Yeah, like I got mine from my brother-in-law, and like I said it was probably about the size of a softball. Then it ended up getting a little bit smaller than a volleyball. Then once it got that big, the light just couldn't penetrate it, and it just literally just started just dying from the inside out. Once I saw it, caught it, I just cut it apart, and it was all dead on the inside. And instead of just trying to fiddle with it, I just ended up tossing it all out. They're not done yet, baby. Let's see here. What else is really going on? And then my lights. I've been slowly messing with my lights. That's the biggest thing I've done here lately. I'm using the Ocean Revive lights, and I had my whites at like 30 or 40. I had them at 40. Then I had my blues at 100, and they're about 17 and a half inches above my tank. But I noticed I was getting more algae buildup on my glass and everything like that. So over the past 3 weeks, I've slowly lowered them down. So now my blues are at 60, I believe, and my whites are down to 20 or 25, and everything seems to be a little bit more happier. I'm not cleaning my glass near as much. And one thing I did do as well is I was using Reefroids, but I switched from Reefroids to Coral Feast, and I'm finding the same coloration and growth rate that I'm using for it, but the biggest thing I'm finding is I'm not getting the big blooms of algae that I was getting with the Reefroids. Even when I was doing the recommended dosing or even underdosing it for the Reefroids, it was still I still have a big algae bloom. And with the Coral Feast, I'm not getting that. And I'm also using the was it CCAM fuel. I'm using that as well. I really do find that beneficial, especially for my acros that I have. They seem to really enjoy that. I've noticed the growth in my acros quite a bit more since using the fuel. I know definitely one thing that's really seemed to really like it is my purple stylo that I have up there. Um, it wasn't very happy at all. Like the bottom side of it started turning all white. I thought I was actually going to end up losing it, and then I started dosing that fuel in there, and I moved it to a little bit more higher flow area, and it's fully recovered. Like it's you can barely see any white on it on the skeleton anymore. To where it was, it's all filled back in. It looks very good. It's growing. It's actually grown pretty good already from just that. Then I have like my lemonade acro in there. Have uh, it's like a red planet or a strawberry shortcake acro I got in there as well. And there's one. It was just I don't know if it's a green slimer or just a green acro with no name. I don't really know the name of it. And I have one more other acro in there, but I can't remember the name of it. It was some I think it's some sort of like staghorn or something like that. But I want to get the bottom part where my acans are. I have another acan you can't see there, but I want to get a nice acan garden going down there. Then that rock there has all the mushrooms on it. That was a pretty good deal. It has tons of mushrooms on it. It has two clams and a feather duster on it. I picked it up for $20 for the whole entire rock, so it wasn't bad at all. And then there's a few Recordia mushrooms in there, and a couple Yuma mushrooms that are in there. But never went too crazy with like going into the bounce mushrooms or anything like that. And there's two flower nems in there as well, and quite different fusoas. So I got the Sunny D's, Eagle Eyes, a few different types of pallies. There's red hornets. There's some bam bams in there. A few of everything. I want to eventually have that whole entire right side there is going to have zoas on all those rocks. Just nothing but pallies and zoas over there. And what did I get the other day? I got Oh yeah, when I got my starry blenny. I got my starry blenny and I got some narite and some seraph snails the other day to help. It's had a real big green algae and detritus problem, and that had been occurring for a couple weeks because I was on vacation, and I took a 13-day vacation. Me and my family went to the Caribbean, and 13 days was just a little bit too long. So I do a weekly water change on this, and the person I had watching it was knew somewhat about fish tanks, but she overfed my tank, and it just blew my stuff right out of proportion. Yeah, it was green hair algae. Yeah, there's still a little bit left on the top rock up there where the mandarin is, right there. But that starry blenny, I mean, gnawed it down. Like he just came in the tank and just was like, okay, I got a job to do. Let's get it done. And especially with the Nerite and the Sarah snails, them pitching in as well. I mean, they've been in there for about 2 weeks, and pretty much all my hair algae is pretty much gone, except for like a few little places that I mean you have to look pretty hard for it. But I mean, I the fish, and my cleanup crew, and I think with me lowering my lights helped everything out a lot. Because I mean, people told me to try using peroxide, but I don't want. I mean, I'd have to pull out a lot of the rocks and do that and just do it individually because I just don't want to dose it into the tank. Because especially my Zoas, they don't. I mean, they're like, nope. But like I said, that started blending. He came in here and he just started cleaning up house, and he did a really great job. Then me just being more consistent on my water changes, being back from vacation, I think that helped. And I was just doing 20% water changes every Saturday. Yeah, like I didn't really cut back my feeding too much. I feed pellets in the morning, then in the evening time I'll mix it up between mysis, Brian, and some LRS like the LRS stuff or some Formula One, and I'll mix it up every day. But every morning they still get their pellets, and yeah, I just got really fortunate, I guess, with my blending because he just came down there doing a really good job. Like the lawnmower blending I had before my Starry blending, he did an amazing job, but he that yellow tank just literally drove him out of the tank. Then I wanted to get a fox face to put in here, but I just haven't found one that really I feel that I really like because this tank here it's a nice tank, but here soon we're going to be going up to a bigger tank to probably like a 180 to 150 somewhere right around there. So I'm going to kind of use this as a grow out tank where I can have some different size corals and smaller fish, then eventually move them into the bigger tank. Yeah, definitely importing and exporting. And like my skimmer, I do here lately. I've been doing my skimmer pretty wet here lately, and I've been doing that to just kind of force more of the nutrients that I had in there out, so that way the algae really wasn't getting any. So I did that, and I kind of dialed it down to where it's still a wet skim, but not near as bad as what it was because I was changing it almost every day or every other day, and now I'm down to changing it maybe once a week now. So I think I've got it pretty well figured out with my skimmer because when I came back home from my vacation, I had to like basically re-break in my skimmer because I took my whole entire skimmer out and I cleaned it from top to bottom, and then it had to have its little break-in cycle again, and now it's back to where it needs to be. But right now, everything's just adjusting from me switching from my JBJ small one to this bigger one because I mean the size is like two sizes up for the wave maker that I had. But I've been kind of waiting for the wave makers and power heads because I'm wanting to get the reviews back from everybody else on the MagSpec 330 series, and I'm kind of waiting to see on what people think of them, and I might go with one of those. So I've been looking at the ice cap. My brother-in-law has the ice cap one, but it's quiet when you're up on it, but when you go into the next room behind it, you can hear the ice cap just going on and on and on and on, and it's loud. So that's kind of deterring me from the ice caps. I want to see what everybody's reviews and are on the new MagSpec dryers. Because if I don't go with one of that, then I'll probably just go to the MP10 from Ecotech Marine. But like even like my green hair algae, back to that, when I had it going, like I went in there, removed a lot of it manually with my hands and a pair of tweezers, and getting in there and trying pulling a lot of it out. And I even took some like polishing pad, and I cut them off into little squares, and I was getting in there and just basically taking it and rubbing that cloth along the rock just to grab whatever would come off, just to get it out of there. And I'm inspecting my how my female clown's been acting. She's acting like she's getting ready to be spawning again. How they've been acting. Yeah, and on all honesty, that's probably the hardest thing I find for me to do is keeping my hand out of the tank. I think if I could just keep. That's why I just said, honey. I said that's the hardest thing for me to do is to keep my hand out of the tank. If I can keep my hand out of the tank, things would definitely look a lot better. But here lately, I've had my hand in there quite a bit.
Ah, Dad.
Like, I think my whites they should be coming on here soon as well.
Ah,
My white lights.
go up.
Ugh.
Ah,
Yeah, like I said, I manually removed a lot of it, but like I said, just I mean, I think not having too many fish in here really helped. But like my tang, when I had that Naso tang in here, he helped. He would just go to town on the algae as well. But that Starry Blenny, like he's been the MVP of my tank. Like he's done an amazing, amazing job. And I think today we're going to probably go and get some more pods for the tank as well, because one of the LFSs around us, they're having their pods for buy one set, get some free, get another thing free. Because I noticed one thing when I had that green hair algae, it just covered up all the like the front rocks on where the anemone is. That was just covered in green hair algae, and same up there where the SPS is in the back. That whole rock was covered in green hair algae, and it seemed like it almost smothered out all my pods that were there. Because like I could go in at nighttime and shine a light on either one of those rocks and just see pods everywhere. But once that green hair algae was gone, I'd go in there and shine the light on there and see on the rock, and the pods were like cut in half of what I would normally see.
now. Ah, damn it.
I don't think so, though, girl.
Did she just say what?
Yeah.
Smack her mouth.
No.
But yeah, it's going pretty good. Where's everybody at? People should be coming. More people should be coming in. But like right now, the little 6-line wrasse right there.
You need to.
No,
It's dirty.
I know. I was gonna set it over here.
You need to get up.
The 6-line wrasse, that's kind of the boss of the tank at the moment. The only one it really doesn't mess with is the Flame Angel. The Flame Angel will put it in its place pretty good. But I got pretty lucky with that guy. The Flame Angel doesn't pick at any of the corals. He's kind of like a model citizen type deal. He just is like, hey, I'm happy. Just give me some food. I'm good to go. Stop this. Wait, make it.
Here's cookie.
They're all moving around now. They think they're going to get fed.
Cha. Here's cookie.
I guess I can throw some little bit of food in. I'll throw some little bit of mice in there real quick. Oh, come right back in, honey. All right. All right, bud. You have a good one, man. Yep. Get your gardening done. Yep. Thank you definitely for coming in. I definitely do appreciate it.
A cart.
Yep. I'm gonna give this probably about another 15 more minutes. Yep. Definitely. Yep. Take care, boss. I give this about another 15 minutes. I'll probably hop off myself. Little emerald crab down there.
Ah!
Doo-doo.
I'm so sorry.
People must be still sleeping.
Oh, we are.
We got 2 minutes. I'll call it day. That's enough.